So I am like one of the biggest cheerleaders when it comes to believing money is more than just a number. There is an energy attached to any of the decisions that we make in our life, even the ways in which we show up, have some sort of energetic blueprint to it. And if we're not aligned in some of the decisions that we are making, we can end up making decisions that leave us scattered, depleted, just energetically depleted and exhausted. So many of us have dealt with burnout and just other examples of pushing ourselves to an extreme edge to the point where it's almost hard to come back from. Using tools and esoteric schools of thought like astrology and human design and numerology have helped me to get better insight into who I am as a person, what my purpose is, what I feel called to do in this lifetime, but also even more specific, looking into my strengths, my weaknesses, and learning how to play to both those two things to maximize the quality of my life. Today, I wanted to talk about human design, what it is, and how I use it to transform my relationship with money and also just my well-being, really improving the quality of my life through utilizing a tool like human design to get to know myself better, and in better getting to know myself and how I respond to life circumstances, I feel I'm a better version of myself than I ever was before. And so I want to put you on game. If you've never heard of human design, if you are curious about it, maybe you have heard a little bit about it, but you don't know anything about your own chart or how it could apply to you and help you to live a more meaningful life and a more decisive and strategic life to get what you want, money, wealth, abundance, this is the video for you. Human design, it is a school of thought founded by Ra Uru. Let me get it right. I don't want to butcher the man that has helped me to make such improvements in my life. Ra Uru Hu. Okay, I knew it was like, yeah, I figured it was a who. Ra Uru Hu had a download one day and he came up with this system called human design, which takes different esoteric schools of thought. So it has a little bit of astrology, Kabbalah, different like philosophies, religious principles, and occult systems to create his own system of deeper understanding and meaning out of life based on what this system exposes about your energetic blueprint and design. So when we think of design, it's like how you were created to operate in this world. It's taking 5 different types of energetic profiles of humans. By figuring out what your human design is, you will be able to classify yourself as one out of the 5. So you want to look at your design type. There are 5 design types. The first one is generators and manifesting generators. Some people lump the two together. I usually like separate them. So generators are going to be people who are built to work, like the engine that keeps things going. That is like including manifesting generators, that makes up 70% of the entire global population. So most people you see are going to be either a generator or manifesting generator. Now, the manifesting generators have that generator energy, but they also are able to manifest things much easier, I feel like, than other signs. So they are able to will things more into existence. They have a lot of ideas, a lot of creative spurts, a lot of inspiration, but they might not have as much energy to carry things through as a generator does. Manifestors are, like I said, they're natural initiators, right? So they are focused on designing things, creative spurts. They are the ones that come up with the ideas and pass it along to the generators to actually go and do it, right? Projectors are able to see the blind spots in others really well. The projectors are the ones looking on the side like, maybe we should be mindful of doing it this way or that way and looking at different perspectives. Reflectors, also kind of similar. They are able to shine a light by reflecting the health of people's environments or their own environment. And so each of these design types have a way that they are supposed to respond in this world. How are they supposed to respond to opportunities? The great thing about human design is it's very specific to decision making and how your energetic blueprint is supposed to make those decisions. For a generator and a manifesting generator, they're supposed to respond to things, not initiate. Don't sit there and try to come up with ideas. It's more so if you are maybe watching a show or you're talking to a friend and someone mentions, hey, I could see you doing that. Or that would be a really good idea. And you respond to that and you're like, yeah, that actually would be a really cool idea. That is a response. You can also think of it as following your joy, right? So something like really like lights you up in response to something, like go with it. It might not make sense intellectually. You might not be able to reason why taking this path might feel good, but follow it. Because as a manifesting generator, as a generator, you are supposed to take action on things that are lighting you up. The great thing about human design is that there is a way to tell if you are not following your design type correctly. For manifesting generators and manifestors, you will notice that you are not living in alignment if you get frustrated and burned out really easily. Because generators are supposed to have this abundance of energy to pull from when they are in flow, if you find that you are burning yourself out, then that means that there is something in the process of what you are doing in your life, whether it's in a relationship or in your career, in your work, in your business, that you do not like and you are resenting it. And therefore, when you resent something, you become burnt out. So that was real big information for me when I first was introduced to human design. I realized in my business at the time, I was on Instagram a lot and I felt super energetically burnt out being on Instagram. I was seeing pretty good results. That's not where I was making the bulk of my money in my coaching business. I make most of my money through workshops and podcasts and things like that. But I felt like I had to push and force myself to be on Instagram to make reels, and it just never felt good to me. But for some reason, I just felt like I had to because that's what everyone else was doing for their business. And so I grew to really resent my business because of that. When I did an audit of my business, I realized most of my money wasn't coming from Instagram. I was pushing myself in this one area of marketing I didn't enjoy. I wasn't in flow. It doesn't mean I can't ever like Instagram in the future, but having to show up, the strategy was to show up on stories every day, which it still kind of is, and to eventually reels started coming into the mix as like, you know, a way to remain friends with the algorithm and to get ahead and to see results in your business. I just felt like it was too much. Before I had my business, I wasn't on Instagram. So imagine someone who wasn't on Instagram ever, and then because they had a business, had to throw themselves onto a platform they normally wouldn't have wanted to be on. Energetically, that was a lot for my system. Looking back, I realized it's because I wasn't honoring my human design type. I wasn't honoring what didn't feel in flow. I didn't have a good response to it. I was performing and putting myself on a platform that didn't feel good to me. So that is something to be mindful of. Where are you resisting the response? Where are you not honoring and listening to the way that you were supposed to respond? And you will see the not self theme, the frustration. What does that frustration look like for you? For manifestors and manifesting generators, it looks like burnout. And if most people are manifesting generators and generators in this world, then that would make sense why majority of people feel burnt out, because we're all forcing and pushing ourselves to operate in a way we're maybe not supposed to operate. Manifestors, like I said, are natural initiators, and they are designed to inform and move first, then let others follow. They don't have to wait on someone to sort of validate their ideas. They don't have to wait for something to inspire them. It's like they just get whatever download and they're like, I just want to do this and I'm just going to do it. And they can do that. Do it first, go out there, do the thing, and figure out all the steps afterwards. You know, so they're probably someone who's more likely to just quit their job and then figure out how to find the next job after, versus maybe someone who's more like a generator or a manifesting generator like me. I am going to sort of have a plan before I do it. I am gonna quit my job, even if I probably shouldn't, but I'm gonna do it and make sure that I have like a backup, like B, C, D, E, all the way to Z. Then we have projectors. So they're supposed to wait for the invitation. Some people look at it as like a really hard one because it's like, well, I'm just gonna sit and just wait my whole life for people to invite me to things. But I see it as quite a little bit similar to the generator, in which that invitation could also be some sort of inspiration. It doesn't have to flat out be like someone saying, oh, you should start a podcast, and waiting for that, even though you know deep down you want to start the podcast. It could be you listening to a podcast episode and someone reflecting that to you. Maybe they're not talking directly to you, they're talking to an audience, but you are part of the audience, and that message resonates, then that message was also for you. You know what I mean? So sometimes you kind of have to use discernment. Just because you classify yourself as one design type, that doesn't mean you can't take inspiration from some of the others and resonate with some of the other strategies from other design types. But yeah, projectors, I would say you thrive when guiding others instead of being guided. So you don't need the validation of other people. It's sort of like you are the validation yourself. And actually other people are looking to you for the validation. So if you have an idea and someone invites you to do something and it inspires you and it resonates and you feel deeply called, go for it. Reflectors make up 1% of all human design types, so they're incredibly rare. They actually follow the moon cycle, so 28-day lunar cycle, which is really cool. And so you need time to make your decision. Let a few weeks pass before you really solidify yourself, especially if they're like big decisions. You know, I feel like when they're small decisions, it's like, okay, obviously maybe just look at what phase the moon cycle is in, and based on that determine if it's a good time. When it's a full moon, it's more time to let go. And so depending on the type of decision that you need to make, if it's to let go of something, it's better during a full moon. If you're trying to call in something new, you know, you're trying to apply for jobs, maybe apply for jobs in that new moon cycle. So things like that. And so they reflect the health of their environment. The not self theme is if they are in environments that aren't helping them thrive, that aren't nourishing. That can be very damaging, right? Because you get information from your environment. And so if your environment is chaotic, it's hard to make decisions from that place. And you're gonna feel very frustrated with yourself, right? I actually did not mention the not self theme for projectors and manifestors. Sorry, let me back up. Projectors, your not self theme would be initiating without the invite, just doing whatever you want on your terms, really placing yourself in spaces where you aren't called or welcomed. There's frustration because you might not feel like you belong. You might not feel like you have community in the spaces in which you want to take up. I think it has to be genuine, or you will feel frustrated and you won't feel validation. You're a great leader, but it doesn't make sense if someone doesn't want you to lead in that space, if that makes sense. Manifestors, I would say your not self theme is thinking too much about things, trying to strategize, trying to fit yourself in one box and being like, I just have to focus on this one thing. That's normally what we're told, right? Especially when it comes to like finances, building wealth, or like having a business. It's like, focus on one business, one income stream, master that and move on to the second thing. And for manifestors, that actually might not work for them. And you might get frustrated in trying to fit yourself in this rigid system when you're actually supposed to be very creative and explore multiple things. I know for me, I definitely see myself as a multi-hyphenate. Although I can try to master one thing, I get tired and I get really bored of just focusing on one thing, especially when it comes to career, right? So even as a coach, I don't really have to put myself in a box and just call myself a coach. It is something that I see as a leading profession of mine and a leading passion, but there are other things I love to do. And I'm not going to, for example, I love writing poetry. I'm not gonna just stop writing poetry because I'm supposed to be focusing on my coaching. It's like the two can coexist and I can still be just as successful. I need to embrace multiple ideas and stoke my creative curiosity to feel fulfilled. So if you're a manifestor and feeling frustrated, it's probably from not being able to express yourself in the multitude of ways you're supposed to be expressing yourself in this world, in your relationships, in your career. in the way that you care for yourself. You know, your morning routine doesn't have to look the same every day. And so I think saying all of that, you get a good gist of the 5 human design types, how you can identify yourself as one, and then also how to respond based on it. The second half of human design that I have found very important to me in helping me to better make decisions and understanding just my energetic blueprint and the way that I should navigate life is our authority type. All of this information, your design type, your authority, anything deeper that you want to explore, you obviously have to get your human design chart. So you can go on Google and type in human design chart. There are notable organizations that can provide this to you. One of my favorites is Jenna Zoe, Human Design. I usually use her website and go to that to get a better understanding of my chart. Sometimes for other clients, I use other charts. They all kind of read the same way, so it doesn't really matter. When it comes to authority type, this is now the real decision maker. You kind of have how you respond. Then you also have like a backup way of making a decision through your authority type. The definition that I see here is your authority is the GPS for aligned decisions. When you follow it, money becomes easier because you're not constantly correcting course, right? And it's not just about money, but any decision. You don't want to make a decision and have to go back and course correct. The less you do that, the more time you free up to be present and enjoy the fruits of your labor and your creation and the way that you express yourself. You know, creating chaos is going to cause more harm than good, right? That's self-explainable. So how can we create less chaos by helping you make more aligned, intentional, mindful decisions so you don't have to course correct later? There are 3 types of authorities. The first one is sacral authority. So that is usually kind of focused on the gut area. It's that gut response. Does this feel good? Yes or no? Some human design experts like to say that full body response. It's immediate. It's embodied, you feel it. It's a very somatic experience, physical experience and sensation. Like if I'm talking to a friend and they're like, I want to go to Thailand. In a few months, we should have a girls trip. I don't know who would say no to that, right? But if we're really coming down to the end of those few months and we're in the group chat and we're trying to put plans together, you should feel good about it, right? Is this what we want to do in Thailand? Is this the right flight? Are these the experiences we want to create? Do I want to go solo or as a group? Someone will ask you a question, and if someone's asking you that question and you don't feel good about it or you're unsure is still a no. That's a big one that I've learned. Another thing that I've been taught by one of my psychics was to ask my body what a yes and no is. So it doesn't have to be specifically in the gut area. Another way that I can tell if something feels good to me or not is I'll get a real nice warm sensation and feeling in my body if something's a yes. If it's a no, I'll just feel very cold. I'll feel like a little nauseous in my stomach. So, you know, that gut area response again. But that is another way I tune into my body because our bodies are smart. Our mind has a lot of clutter and chatter and doubt and fear. And sometimes it's hard to distinguish between our soul's response and desire versus what our ego is telling us, either as a way to protect ourselves or to perform. And for me, being able to tap into my body helps me find the answer sooner. Then I back it up with reason. But I've learned to check in with my body first. If you are sacral authority, you are going to resonate with that. The next one is emotional authority. So you're not meant to decide in the moment. You have to feel out the wave of emotions that are coming through. Clarity is going to come with time. These emotions are going to come in waves because emotion is energy in motion. Your emotions are ever changing. If you have a big decision to make and you're sad one day, you're happy the next about it, you're a little fearful, and the next day you're ecstatic, feel out to see what is the consistent emotion for that decision that you're going to make. This is great. If you have emotional authority and we're talking about money and spending, you're definitely going to be the person that shouldn't buy something within the same day of seeing it, right? Like, oh, there's a sale. I would probably wait out that sale for a few days. Usually a sale is running for a few days. If it's the last day, trust me, there are going to be more sales. It's not the end of the world, right? So emotional authority, definitely you're going to have to ride it through. Do not rush yourself or do not have anyone force you to make a decision. what I've learned, even as a sacral authority, sometimes I don't get the answer right away, or I'm not sure how to read the response. I'll just say, I'll get back to you. You're allowed to do that no matter what your human design type is, no matter what your authority type is. You're allowed to pause and wait before making a decision. Do not let anyone force you or gaslight you or guilt you into making a decision right away. The third and the last authority type is the splenic. So splenic it's more like your intuitive authority type. If you have this one, it might not be as clear, but it's really about listening to that instinct, that subtle whisper, that voice in the back of your head that's like, no, this doesn't sound like a good idea, or the voice in the back of your head that says the opposite. This actually sounds very interesting. Let me get curious. If it's not a whole body yes, definitely you should pause, especially if you are a splenic type. A whisper of doubt is definitely a no. Whether you're sacral, emotional, splenic, if you are unsure, hold off. Make sure that gut response is clear. Ride the wave of emotions, give it time. Trust your intuition. You already have the answer. So, knowing all of this, the hardest part is putting it into practice. Because you can have all this information, but you don't actually have to apply it. And I think that has been the beauty of learning human design. Although I know my type and I know my authority, every few months I go back into my chart and I review certain details about my types, just as a reminder. We get so caught up in life and bombarded with decisions that we sometimes override our authority type. We forget the ways in which we're supposed to respond. Society creates illusions. We feel we have to participate in when it comes to our work or relationships. And we feel like, well, other people are doing it this way, should probably just do it this way, instead of honoring ourselves. And we're not going to be like everyone else. Like I said, the majority of people are manifesting generators, great, but there are some people who aren't. How do you navigate that? How will you be navigating things differently? I think also a third thing that has been very helpful is when I'm frustrated, identifying why it is that I'm frustrated. Is it because I'm not honoring my response system? Is it because I'm not honoring my authority type and making decisions? So when I'm supposed to, I can look back at things I said yes to that I was resentful of because really deep down, I didn't want to do it, or I was unsure and I went ahead with it. I hope that this video was helpful. I'm going to be creating another video on how astrology has helped me transform my relationship with wealth and abundance. If anything, go check out your human design chart. And I wanted to also share with you a really cool offering since you've made it so far to this point in the video. I have been testing an offer around discovering your human design and looking at certain aspects of your astrology as well as your personality type to determine how best you should strategize towards maximizing wealth and abundance in your life. What is the strategy that you should embody based on your energetic blueprint? I actually call it the wealth blueprint. It combines human design, astrology, personality, and I also do a customized money audit. Check the link in the description below and you can find out more details on it. So thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. I will catch you in the next one. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you soon in the next video.